Welcome to Fantasy Football Today Dynasty. I am your host, Heath Cummings, joined once again by my good friend Matt Cooper from CouchScouts Fantasy Football. It's a double header day here on the YouTube channel. Just finished up the main show, and now we're here for your Dynasty content. Matt, always love having you on the program. Always ask you at the beginning, tell everybody all about CouchScouts.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. This is my favorite podcast to be a guest on. Our philosophy at CouchScouts is that scouting gives you a big edge in Dynasty. I mean, that feels like a no-brainer, but if you think about it, if you scout really well, you'll consistently dominate your rookie draft. And if you consistently dominate your rookie draft, it's only a matter of time till you build a Dynasty, right? I mean, grabbing Bucky Irving in the third round last year, how much of an edge is that? You know, you do that year over year, start stacking that kind of value, you're in business. So in addition to our weekly podcast that we do covering Dynasty fantasy football topics, we also have a website, CouchScouts.com, where we offer a ton of tools to give you an edge in scouting. We put out a rookie guide breaking down film on basically every rookie that even might be relevant, over 70 prospects deep. And obviously most leagues, if it's a 12-team league, you're going 48 picks. So we got you covered. We have an all 22 film room on our website where you can watch a lot of the biggest names in college football, people that we expect to hit our Dynasty rosters in the coming years. We have one-on-one consultations to help you develop a personalized strategy for your Dynasty roster, which our members have given really, really positive feedback on. So yeah, just a lot of tools. Our packages start at $50 a year, which is less than $5 a month. We also have a community of Dynasty enthusiasts in our Discord, 250 plus people strong, where you can just post a question anytime and get immediate feedback from people in the community. So a lot of good things happening. And since so many of our best and most active members found us first through FFT, we want to keep that trend going and give your people reasons to come check us out. So we're going to continue what has become a tradition at this point and drop the promo code FFT. And for the first 50 people that use it, they'll get 50% off of any of our annual packages.
Awesome, awesome stuff. Go check that out, guys. CouchScouts Fantasy Football. On today's show, we're going to be talking about the rookies. The risers, the fallers. We've got a two-man rookie mock. We're going to draft our top 24, kind of establish what that looks like right now. And I know, like, there's this idea that these news items should matter more for redraft than they do for Dynasty because they're just affecting this year. And to some degree, there's some truth in that. But also, like Sigmund Bloom said on the show last week, changes in the Dynasty world don't generally happen gradually over time. There are large shifts in big moments. And so when something, don't hesitate when you change your perspective on a player to make that big move, and just not just incrementally, because you may just stay behind the rise or stay behind the fall and be in trouble. Now we're going to start with 3 questions for Matt. And I told him beforehand I was going to ask him these questions. Who's your biggest rookie riser since the opening of camp?
I'm going to give 2 names.
Okay,
the first I will give is Elijah Arroyo, tight end for the Seattle Seahawks. I was higher than consensus for sure on Arroyo really throughout the process. I think when I broke down the tape, the athleticism just pops. And so many of the best tight ends in fantasy have been really high-end athletes. I think it matters more at that position than other positions. And the route running, it was a little, you're projecting a little bit because
Right.
Miami mostly used him as a straight line kind of deep threat. But you saw him at the Senior Bowl in those drills against linebackers, and all of a sudden he's looking really shifty, moving laterally. He's sharp in and out of cuts, and he looks really good. And the ball skills are there. And so there's a lot of traits that you really like. The production's limited. There's an injury history. There's a lot of things there. But then second round draft capital is really good. And since the draft, I mean, it's just been nothing but positive buzz.
Right.
They cut Noah Fant, which shows a lot of faith, I think, in the rookie. They've said that they want to use him all over the formation, out wide, in the slot, everywhere, getting the ball in his hands in different ways. And the Seahawks GM, I believe, came out and said that if it wasn't for the injury history, they think he was a top 10 talent. So it's just been nothing but a positive drumbeat for Elijah Arroyo since he got drafted there. And the other name that I'll mention, who's also just nothing but positive drumbeat, is Pat Bryant for the Denver Broncos. I think after Cortland Sutton, that wide receiver 2 competition is wide open. His competition is Devon Vele, who was a 7th round pick and did show a little bit. And then Marvin Mims, who I don't think is a full-time number 2 wide receiver. I think he's a good third option. He's a field stretcher, nice best ball type of guy, but I just don't think he's ever going to be a consistent target earner. And for me, I liked Pat Bryant's film a lot. He's not athletic, but he's just a good football player. He's got great ball skills. He runs really crisp routes. He's super physical at the point of attack. He's got, surprising after the catch because he's not athletic, but he just will stiff arm guys into the grave. So I loved watching Pat Bryant's tape. The drum beat has been really, really positive. I mean, you heard after he got drafted that Sean Payton said he reminded him of Michael Thomas, which is really high praise. I don't know that Pat Bryant has that kind of fantasy upside in his repertoire, but I do think he's got an opportunity to earn his way onto the field and start this year.
I've been right with you on Arroyo. He was the biggest riser I talked about right after Noah Fant got cut. I've struggled a little bit more with Bryant just because there's a lot of people who think RJ Harvey is going to be the second target in this offense. There's a lot of people who think Evan Ingram is going to be the second target in this offense. I know Benjamin Albright was talking yesterday on Twitter about how it's pretty locked in, the top 3 with Mims and Vele behind Sutton. And then Sutton got the extension. And I kind of wondered if Bryant was the Sutton replacement, but that's a guy who's still very cheap in rookie drafts if you're doing those. I have a couple that are just finishing up right now. Question number 2, we'll go the opposite direction. Who has been your biggest rookie faller since the opening of camp?
So I got to say Luther Burden. And, there was this report that he got thrown out of practice and chewed out by Ben Johnson, and really nothing that you've heard out of Ben Johnson's mouth about Burden, it feels like, has been positive, which is concerning. I think for me, what makes it so concerning is how crowded that depth chart is.
Right.
Like, he's got to go on and earn his way onto the field, and nothing's going to be handed to him. Like, you could look at the Judkins situation in Cleveland, and that's not good. When the owner comes out and says, I'm cautiously optimistic that he'll play for us. That's not what you want to hear.
I think Judkins was the answer everybody was expecting to that question.
But at the same time, it's like, at the end of the day, he's going to sign his contract and he's going to probably get slapped with a short suspension. And then you've got his whole career in front of him. And I think he probably is still the starting running back for the Cleveland Browns for most of this season. Luther Burden might get buried and forgotten about and, kind of never see the light of day and just be a total whiff for your dynasty rosters. I'm concerned about it.
Yeah, I think we talked to Bloom about this last week too. He's been the roller coaster rookie because on Thursday last week was apparently his best day of camp, and there's all types of highlights of Luther Burden doing great things. And there are questions about what the DJ Moore, Ben Johnson dynamic currently is. So I think as a round 2 pick, Burden could still end up in that slot role and could be great and could turn into absolutely nothing. He was in late round 1 consideration at one point, so that makes sense. I know you talked a lot about scouting. You guys do a lot of prep during the college football season. I've been very open that with my responsibilities here, I watch more college football in January, February, and March than I do during actual college football season. I know that's not the case for a lot of people who listen to this show, though. So who are some of the college football players that you're most interested to watch early in the season?
Yeah, so I'll highlight 3 teams that I'm interested to see how things play out. One is Oregon. So you have a new quarterback, Dante Moore, who kind of waited his turn behind Dylan Gabriel, former 5-star guy. Didn't look amazing starting as a true freshman for UCLA. I think he made a wise decision to go somewhere where he could sit and learn. But talented kid. And then, with the Evan Stewart injury, who steps up in the pass catching room? You've got true freshman, the number 1 wide receiver in this freshman class, DeCorian Moore. Oregon doesn't usually use freshmen, but I don't think they have much of a choice in this situation. And then Kenyon Sadiq is one of the few tight ends that we care about in the college football world as far as NFL prospects. So, and then on top of all that, you've got Mekhi Hughes, who was extremely productive at Tulane, transferring in. How's he going to look on the big stage? So Oregon's got a lot to pay attention to there. I'll say Clemson. Can Cade Klubnik build on what he did last year? How does that wide receiver room shake out with 3 NFL caliber guys in there? Antonio Williams, TJ Moore, Bryant Wesco. And then they've got this true freshman running back, Gideon Davidson, that everybody is just raving about and might come in and start day one for Clemson at the running back position. So there's a lot to watch there as well.
We already have 3 questions in the chat. I have scheduled this show to have a little time at the end for your rookie questions. So probably not trade questions today or other things like that. But if you've got some rookie questions, we'll definitely try to get those later in the chat. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we'll do a 2-man rookie mock.
Critics agree Landman is a hit.
We roll the dice one last time.
Men die. Oil companies don't.
We are back, and I just wanted to remind you guys the Draftathon auction room is live. There are all kinds of awesome things that you can bid on. A private Zoom call with me, Adam, Dave, or Jamie. You can bid to be a part of Team Adam or Team Dan in the tennis match. And of course, for you guys, I know what you're really excited about. There are 2 spots in the FFT Dynasty League that is opening up. Those both already have bids. It's interesting. They're kind of for the same thing. One of them's quite a bit more expensive than the other one. So if you're looking for a value, that is available. The link is in the chat. Go check out all the auction items available and be a part of helping us raise money for St. Jude. Our prior record coming into this year was $125,000. We're going to smash that in 2025. Thank you guys for being a part of it. So we're doing a 2-man mock. Basically, Matt's going to draft 2 teams. He will have all the odd numbers, starting with pick 1. I will draft 2 teams, all the even numbers. This will be a full PPR, 1 QB, non-tight end mock draft. So we've done a lot of super flex mocks here recently. I know that's what everybody wants. There's also still a lot of 1 QB leagues out there, so I want to help the people out. You get the first pick, Matt. I have no idea who you're going to take. Very difficult pick here.
I'm not going to get too spicy here. I'm taking Ashton Genty. Great running back prospect. The film is so fun to watch. Great draft capital. The landing spot is awesome. Like, he's immediately stepping in as the bell cow there. So there's not a lot not to love about Ashton Genty.
Ashton Genty is the one. Like, we're going to go through this very slowly. We don't have any clock that's counting us down. We don't have to get through 15 rounds. So we're going to talk about some guys. There's not much to say about Ashton Genty at 101. He's that pick in any format. My second pick, I'm going to stick with, I know you'll love this pick, Travis Hunter. Loved the initial depth chart that we don't care about unless it confirms the players. It did. He's listed as a starting wide receiver. Loved hearing Liam Cohen tell Rich Eisen that his target, what he'd like to see is Travis Hunter playing 80% of the offensive snaps. Do not sleep on, like, I know you're thinking, man, we're drafting this 2-way player now in round 5 of redraft and talking about drafting him 102. Where's the room for the upside? Just go watch some of the training camp clips. Go listen to anybody who's watched Jacksonville practice this year. He might be the best player on the team in Europe.
Yeah. I mean, watch his college tape too. It's, I mean, there's a reason that he was drawing prime Odell Beckham Jr. comps from Matt Harmon, who's arguably, the best wide receiver evaluator in the business here. And, yeah, we love Travis Hunter. We've been on him for a long time and bullish that from the second we watched his tape, we said he's too good not to play wide receiver in the NFL. I had a higher film grade on him than I had on Malik Neighbors last year when I got done grading him. Right. And that was just as a wide receiver, had nothing to do with his ability at cornerback. So yeah, I love that pick. That's who I would have taken. I was wondering if he'd fall to me at 3 because.
I think now is when, like, because knowing your rankings and mine, I pretty much knew who the first 2 picks were going to be. That this 3-4, I think we're going to have 2 guys to talk about here where it gets really interesting. So I'll let you make the first one. I'll make the second one right after, and then we'll compare and contrast these 2 guys.
Yeah, I'm going to take Omarion Hampton, the running back for the Los Angeles Chargers. I had him as my clear RB2 in terms of tape grade and the draft capital, the landing spot. Everything is about as good as you could have asked for. His power element of his game is so fun to watch. I mean, just shades of like classic NFL, Hall of Fame running backs there, just running people over, truck stick, putting people on their back. So I love watching Omarion Hampton run. And I think for a big guy, like he's got some good, he's not the most elusive lateral guy, but really good straight line juice and a great receiving skill set for being a big pounder kind of guy. So yeah, I like Omarion Hampton. I think especially with the news out of camp that Najee Harris is like not healthy, it kind of makes him, you thought maybe you'll have to be patient right away because Najee's like not a scrub and they'll probably like work Hampton in slowly. But if he kind of takes that job by default due to injury, he's never given it back.
So this is where the rankings diverge a little bit because, and I've talked about this a lot, I've had Trevion Henderson, who I'm going to take with the 4th pick as my RB2 since before the draft. And if you listen to camp reports out of New England, the most common thing I hear is it just looks different when he has the ball in his hands compared to everyone else. And they're not just talking about the running backs. They're saying compared to anybody else on the team, his explosive ability. They've been very pleased with what he does as a pass catcher. I don't think I need to recount the history of Josh McDaniels' offense and pass catching. There's a long, long line of great success in that regard. And I like the Najee thing, he's absolutely gone up in my projections for this year and a little bit in my dynasty rankings because of that. We are still more than a month away from the season starting, and the injury he's dealing with is so foreign to me, and I think all of us, in terms of what that recovery looks like and whether he'll be okay. The difference that I see between Najee and Ramondre is something I just talked about 45 minutes ago on FFT. Like the two things that keep kind of plodding veterans ahead of rookies are their pass protection and their ball security. And Najee's very good at both of those things, and Ramondre is not.
Yep. And
Trevion is maybe the best pass protector in the class. And so I don't think Trevion's probably ever going to have as many rush attempts in a given season as Omarion Hampton is. But in a full PPR league, I think he might have more valuable touches and more explosive runs. Do you have these? I know you said that Hampton was your clear RB2. Does the full PPR scoring make it any closer for you amongst these two?
Yeah. Henderson is my next guy for sure. So right. I definitely agree with what you're saying. I mean, some of the clips out of training camp of him just routing guys up, like you don't see that out of running backs all the time. And I don't think Ohio State used him to his full potential. Like there's some flashes of it on his college tape where you're like, man, this guy can do more than just take dump offs. And, like he has a real third down skill set that you don't always see. And I don't think Ohio State used him as much in that department as they could have. Maybe that's just because they were so loaded at the wide receiver position, but Trevion Henderson does have a lot of upside because of that pass catching. I do think he's more explosive than Omarion Hampton is. And I agree with you that Najee, when healthy, is more of a threat than Ramondre is. I mean, Ramondre was getting doghoused to Antonio Gibson last year because of the fumble issue. So like if they were, I think the Patriots were hungry to replace Ramondre. I think they were kind of fed up with the fumbling. And I do think Trevion steps in and is the starter for them right away. So both of these guys, really, really good players.
I don't think we're quite to a tier break yet, but maybe. But go ahead and make pick number 5.
Yeah, my tier break would be after this pick. And so I'm going to take Tedero McMillan here. I think, getting picked in the top 10 of the NFL draft to a situation where he should be the clear number 1 target earner day one is really exciting. And I think he's a good football player. I know that there have been, things said about, he can't separate or he's just a contested catch merchant. I think that's a bit exaggerated. I think Ted McMillan he doesn't have as much of the deep route separation, but in the short to intermediate, I think he's a really good technical route runner and does create a lot of space on whip routes and slants and, a lot of these possession type of routes. So I don't think he's just a contested catch guy, and I think he's going to do well with the Panthers.
And this is another guy where there's just been the steady drumbeat since camp opened of, wow, is he the best wide receiver on this team right away? We've seen Bryce Young lock in on one wide receiver. I've moved McMillan up. I might still be too low, but I agree with you. This is where there is a tier break. My next 1, 2, 3, 4 picks are all really, really close in value, but they're all quite a ways behind McMillan. I'm going to go with another camp riser, and it's Emeka Egbuka. Just because, again, we've said this a lot. He came into the NFL. We were thinking this might be the most like pro ready, go do everything they ask you on day one. And he's been exactly that in Tampa's practices. And you hear it from the beat writers, you hear it from the coaches, you hear it from the quarterback, you hear it from Mike Evans. Everybody loves this guy. Chris Godwin's still not fully healthy. Mike Evans is 32 years old. It might take a little more patience than the first 5 or 6 picks in a rookie draft normally do, but the payoff could be enormous. And with the injury and age concerns, it might not. Like Egbuka might just have the opportunity to be a top 24 wide receiver this year, and probably someone who's going to be better for the duration of his career in full PPR than half, I would guess.
Yeah, so that would have been my pick as well for all the same reasons that you said. I think especially with that Chris Godwin injury, which we knew about, like we knew Chris Godwin was hurt, but only in the last couple of weeks did we get the report that he actually had a second surgery in the offseason to clean up some things after the first surgery. And it doesn't seem like Godwin's going to be ready for week 1. And I think that's a big boost to Egbuka because he absolutely is pro ready and ready to step in and be a starting wide receiver and produce for fantasy right away. If Chris Godwin's not on the field. So yeah, Egbuka would have been my pick there as well. And I think it's a really, really good one.
Let's recap the first 6 picks goes Ashton Genty, Travis Hunter, Omarion Hampton, Trevion Henderson, Tetaroa McMillan, Emeka Egbuka. You are up for pick number 7.
Yeah, at number 7, I'm going to go with Tyler Warren. And this is where, there's definitely a teardrop here, in my opinion. I like Tyler Warren, especially in tight end premium leagues. I think he's a good pick there. The situation feels a little ugly. We don't know who the quarterback's going to be. We think no matter who wins the job, it might be ugly. And there are good players. Like I like Pittman. I think Pittman's better than what he showed last year. We know he was playing through a fractured back last year. I think he was a perennial top 15 to 20 fantasy wide receiver every season prior to last year. And then Josh Downs is a prospect that I really liked. He's shown some things in the NFL. I think he's a great separator in the slot, a great underneath kind of security blanket, does a little bit after the catch. So, there's mouths to feed and questions about if there's anybody to feed them. But Tyler Warren's so good. There's a reason that he was picked as high as he was in the NFL draft. I think there's a good chance that even with all those other options, he still comes in and is the number 1 target in that offense right away. And if there was one tight end, I think with Loveland dealing with some injury stuff and not really getting a chance to be in there and practicing with the team fully. After those 2, it's a drop. Arroyo would be my next guy up, who I mentioned earlier, but he didn't get top 15 draft capital like these guys did. So yeah, for me, Tyler Warren is my next pick here. And I'm you might have to be patient with him. I don't know. We'll see what happens with the quarterback situation, but I think he's got as much of a chance or better than any other tight ends for year 1 production.
I will take Caleb Johnson next, probably a little bit of a safe pick. Another roller coaster in training camp. Last week, it was all about how he couldn't block anybody. This week, it's all about how he keeps running through everybody. And so probably a guy who will have a little more value in half PPR or non-PPR. But even in full PPR, we've seen it the Arthur Smith offense is going to be very run heavy. Johnson could have a high percentage of the rush attempts. Warren does most of the stuff in the passing game. I'll take Johnson. Let's just go ahead and move on to pick 9 here. You're up.
Yeah, I'll take Colston Loveland here.
Okay.
I'll stick with the tight end here. And I don't know if we're doing, I forget if you said if this was tight end premium or not.
I said it was not.
Which is okay. I think even if it wasn't, I would make this pick before all of the negative news regarding Judkins. I might have picked Judkins ahead of Warren and Loveland,
Right.
but I think that's enough to move him behind those guys. And yeah, top 10 pick. He's really talented, has everything that you want, specifically for a fantasy tight end. Like, he's a receiving tight end. He's not in there to block. I love Colston Loveland.
Yeah, I think half people, or if it was tight end premium, I would have taken both those guys before Egbuka. So when you get past Egbuka and non-tight end premium, I think, like I said, there's 5 or 6 guys that you could take and feel okay about. I was pretty high on Judkins before, but now I would definitely take these guys first, and I'll go ahead and take Matthew Golden. I was banging the drum that Green Bay was finally going to have a wide receiver one, and everything you hear out of Packers camp is, guess what? We've got a wide receiver with 2 hands who catches things. That's awesome. He looks like he's going to play outside. Jaden Reed's going to stay inside. I think Golden, because of the 40 time that he ran, he got pigeonholed into this. Oh, he's just the fast burner that goes deep. And that's not what he is at all. A very much better route runner than he's given credit for. I expect him to lead the Packers in targets in year 1 and probably be a number 3 wide receiver.
All right. I like it. I am going to now go to Judkins. I think the draft capital is fantastic. He's definitely my next guy up in terms of, as a prospect, everything he did from true freshman season all the way through his whole collegiate career, NCAA champion. He's got great power and contact balance. The third down skill set is a little bit questionable. That's probably my main reason that I wouldn't be higher on Judkins, but he's got everything you need to go in there and be a workhorse for the Browns. And I think that's what they drafted him to be.
I loved him coming into the draft. I loved him after the Browns took him. There's one possibility that I see that you have not, I don't know. I kind of want to find out if you think this is just like not something we need to worry about or such a small percentage chance, but the Browns do have kind of a strange organization.
That's
and
true.
a very checkered past in recent years in terms of off-field issues. And I just wonder if the message they've received from the league is that if you sign Judkins, he's just going on the exempt list until this is taken care of. Or if they've just decided until we have all the information and know what he's actually convicted of, we're not going to, like, I do think if he was signed and they weren't, and the NFL had decided not to put him on the exempt list, then your thought about he's probably just going to have maybe a 6-game suspension this year, and then we got the rest of his career. I've got a little bit of concern that both the NFL and the Browns just do nothing until this court case is resolved. And if that happens,
that would be bad.
We might miss a rookie year and have a suspension next year.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. And especially, I have been burned in the past with that line of thinking.
Right.
Jamison Williams, I was like, he's going to be hurt. We know that, but he'll get healthy. And then you got his whole career in front of him. Right. I said the same thing with Brooks last year, Jonathan Brooks. And obviously you can't predict he's going to re-hurt it, or that Jamison's going to get a big gambling suspension or, whatever. But it's like, sometimes these things just pile up, and it's like the team just learns to live life without you and they move on. They had high hopes when they drafted you, but you just haven't been available. They made other plans, and, the Panthers moved on to Chuba Hubbard, and Amon-Ra became the clear number 1 threat for the Lions. And now you're coming in fighting for whatever's left.
So I'm going to go ahead and I'll say the name because I'm surprised the chat hasn't been up in arms yet. We finally found a guy apparently who's lower on him than Heath, but I will take RJ Harvey with the 12th pick. So just to recap round 1 for people that are listening and not watching, it's Ashton Genty, Travis Hunter, Amarian Hampton, Trevion Henderson, Tedoroa McMillan, Emeka Egbuka, Tyler Warren, Caleb Johnson, Colston Loveland, Matthew Golden, Quinshon Judkins, RJ Harvey. I was skeptical of Harvey's potential feature role in Denver before the Dobbins signing. The Dobbins signing, I didn't really move him a whole lot after that because it's kind of, I expected somebody else was going to have the work. But I'll let you talk about Harvey for a second because clearly you and I share some concerns.
Yeah, I think you had my co-host Matt Rupert on maybe the week that they did that Dobbins signing, and so I remember y'all talked about it. But yeah, Harvey, I like him. I don't hate RJ Harvey as a, from evaluating his film. I think the power elements to his game were lacking, which is understandable because he's sized more as a scat back. He's explosive in space. He's got some elusiveness to him. He can catch passes. Wasn't asked to do it a lot. His pass catching production profile at UCF is not great, but I think the skill set is there, and it sounds like he's done well in that area in training camp. So yes, there could be some immediate fantasy value here, especially in full PPR leagues. He is 24 years old. So I don't think a lot of people, everybody's so sure that he's going to be a stud year one that not a lot of people are talking about what if he's not. Well, then you've got a 25 going on 26-year-old that didn't produce year one, and his value could go down really quick because I think the age combined with the size, for me, I thought he was a day 3 guy. The Broncos took him a good bit higher than that. The situation is good. A lot of the arguments that I hear for Harvey have more to do with Sean Payton than they'd have to do with Harvey himself. And I'm just a little bit concerned, not with the player, just the price got so high. I mean, I had him ranked in my 3rd round pre-draft, and then all of a sudden post-draft, he's like, people are taking him top 7, top 8. It feels a little rich for me, but I don't hate Harvey. It's just the price has gotten a little high.
This is a rookie show. We're going to do round 2 a little bit quicker in a second, but you are exactly right in the chat. It's time for Kyron extension. Heath, victory
Let's go.
lap. Kyron getting an extension. I got notified in the chat. I went and verified on the app. 3 years, 33 million, 23 million guaranteed. It is a great day to not be a Kyron Williams skeptic. I have, and this could still go the wrong way. One of these low-end running backs could eventually, Sean McVay has been known to switch things up. But let's start here because I want to talk about this news for just a second. Where would you rank Kyron Williams in Dynasty with this news now? So I'm making you think a little bit because I'm assuming your prior rankings wouldn't have totally reflected this news. Where would you rank him in Dynasty amongst the rookie running backs?
I don't know if I'm ready to give an answer on the spot because I don't have my rankings pulled up, but I will say that Kyron, I have been saying for a while to me that Kyron is undervalued. Everybody just keeps begging for him to get replaced, and they just keep giving him all the touches, and he just keeps producing, and he's young. And it's like, if he doesn't get replaced, he's been a steal for like 3 years now. So I'm totally with you on the Kyron Williams thing. And I just pulled up ADP while I'm talking. He's at RB11, 46th overall. And the guys in front of him are Travion Henderson, Jonathan Taylor, and Breece Hall as far as running backs go. I don't know that he necessarily jumps any of those 3 guys, maybe Taylor. I think I probably would take Kyron Williams ahead of Jonathan Taylor. But so like for me, I already had him up pretty high. I don't think I would boost him a ton off of this, but it does make you feel good to have that security.
And just for reference, Kyron Williams about 5.5 months older than RJ Harvey. But I will say I've just never taken him out of my top 10. He'll still be in my top 10 now. The window's probably closed. You probably can't go by Kyron Williams, but it was fun while it lasted. Let's get to round 2. And like I said, we'll go through this round just a little bit quicker. We've already seen Genty, Hunter, Hampton, Henderson, McMillan, Ibuka, Warren, Johnson, Loveland, Golden, Judkins, Harvey. Who are you starting off round 2 with?
I am going to go with my guy here in this class, and that is Cam Scattaboo.
Okay.
I have loved Cam Scattaboo since the moment I turned on his tape. Fourth round draft capital was not what I was hoping for, but I think the situation is still pretty good. I think he's, to me, clearly better than Tyrone Tracy. And, I think he's dealing with a minor injury right now. I'm not sure all the specifics on it, but
it's a hamstring.
the buzz out of camp before the injury was pretty good on Cam Scattaboo. So, yeah, pending health, I think he steps in and should be the starting running back for the Giants, or at least earn that over the course of year one. I think he's a really good player, and he's got a pass catching skill set too, but he's got some of the best contact balance in the draft class. He's got great vision, great patience, really fun to watch run the football.
And I will take your biggest faller from earlier in the show. I'm going to take Luther Burden. I just don't. The concerns that Matt has about the floor are 100% genuine and factual, but I don't think you often find this type of upside in round 2 of your rookie draft. So if I get a chance to draft Luther Burden in round 2, I am going to draft Luther Burden.
Mm-hmm.
You are up with pick 15.
Yeah, that would have been my next pick as well. I will take Jack Besh for the Raiders. I really enjoyed his college tape. I think he's got a potential to be a really good big slot at the next level. He separates not with a lot of like technical acumen, but he's such a physical player that he kind of separates at the catch point, not just at the catch point. He's not just a contested catch guy, but I think early in routes, like he just hand fights well and he wins early and he gets you on his back. He understands leverage. He's really good after the catch. And then those ball skills and the contested catch is all there too. And I think maybe in the short term, it's Bowers, then Myers, then Besh. But I think eventually he's going to be the number 2 pass catching option in that offense behind Bowers.
Yeah, thank you for doing that, because I am overexposed to Jack Besh and I have not really enjoyed the training camp coverage. And it seems like we just keep getting highlights of every Raiders rookie wide receiver besides Jack Besh. So I'm glad there's still a little faith there. I will take Jaden Higgins. I think we're definitely past the point in the rookie draft where I'm super excited, but I do like Higgins' skill set a lot. I think there's an opportunity for him to function really well with Nico Collins drawing the majority of the coverage. Could be one of those big spike touchdown seasons that eventually leads to more targets. And like I said, we're almost in the middle of round 2. We've started off round 2 with Cam Scattaboo. That was fantastic. Cam Scattaboo, Luther Burden, Jack Besh, and Jaden Higgins. Who are you taking 5th in round 2?
Yeah, before I make my pick, I'll just say real quick, you mentioned the Jack Besh camp news, which I've deleted X, so I don't see all the camp news. But it's funny that you have me on the show for this Risers and Fallers episode, because I try to be not reactionary.
Try to stay water, right?
Yeah,
that's the best way. Yes.
My rankings might go up or down a tiny bit, but in general, like I studied these guys from December to April in depth, watched who knows how many hours of film on these guys. I'm not going to drastically change everything based off of a training camp buzz. So I just thought that would be good to put out there, that we shouldn't always overreact to this stuff. But
and somebody said that he's just listening and wanted to, I know not everybody does the rookie research that we do. And so I did a bad job on not mentioning positions on some of the guys. So it's running back Cam Scattaboo, wide receiver Luther Burden, wide receiver Jack Besh, wide receiver Jaden Higgins. Are we getting another wide receiver with the next pick, Matt?
Yeah, I'm going to go with wide receiver Trey Harris for the Chargers out of Ole Miss. I'm not as high on his film as some other people, but I do think he's better than Quentin Johnston. And I think he complements what Ladd McConkey does really well as far as being a big-bodied X-receiver. And I don't know that he's got tremendous fantasy upside as far as,
right,
earning a lot of targets and being a high volume guy, but I do think he can be a good boundary possession X receiver that you can use in a flex spot.
I think something people will consider maybe very soon, maybe by the time this show's over, is if Keenan Allen signs in Los Angeles, does that change how we feel about Trey Harris? And that's kind of a weird thing to ask because they don't play even kind of the same position.
Right.
But quarterbacks seem to throw the ball to Keenan Allen when he's on the field. And
'Cause
so
he's good.
if Ladd McConkey's there, how many targets could actually go to Trey Harris?
Exactly.
Will that lower Harris at all for you if Keenan Allen signs there?
Maybe a spot or two. Again, thinking dynasty,
Right.
I don't think it should impact him a lot because Keenan Allen is the wheels are falling off. I do love Keenan Allen. I think he's still a good football player. He played well down the stretch for the Bears last year. So yeah, in the short term, redraft, absolutely, it would knock him down. Dynasty, I would have him in a similar range here.
I took your biggest faller with the 14th pick. I'll take your biggest riser with the 18th pick, and that is Elijah Arroyo, middle of round 2. I had Harold Fannin as my third favorite tight end coming into this, and I still think there's a chance that Fannin's better long term, but Arroyo's got a chance to increase his value day one. So I'll move Arroyo up just a little bit, put him in the middle of round 2, the tight end for the Seahawks, and you are up with pick 7 of round 2.
You're breaking my heart, man.
Good.
I'll take Bayshul Tootin, running back for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Like I said, I deleted X. I actually don't know what the hype has been, what the buzz has been on him out of camp. I just know that I did like his tape. I think his combine was amazing and he's super fast, but it's not just straight line speed. I thought he changed direction, had really sudden cuts, and had a decent power element, even though he's a little bit on the smaller side. And I think he had a pass catching skill set that he didn't fully get to show at Virginia Tech too. So Bayshul Tootin, again, who knows? Because there's so much up in the air in that Jaguars running back room. And I do think ETN probably is the lead guy to start. But
I think the way it's looking right now is, and the role that probably should have never been questioned is that ETN's going to be the primary pass catching back. Tank Bigsby's had a good start to camp and was a better rusher than ETN last year. I think we'll probably see the beginning of the year. It's Bigsby and ETN. Tootin is more of a long-term play.
Yep.
But good luck finding an instant impact at pick 19 of your rookie draft. Now at pick 20, I might have an instant impact. I might have a week 1 starter.
Okay.
I loved Dylan Sampson coming out of college. I hated that he got drafted by the same team that took Quinshon Judkins, but Jerome Ford's been banged up at camp. Quinshon Judkins isn't even on the team yet, and I have hope again. So I'll take a round 2 swipe at Dylan Sampson. Who knows? Maybe he's just the best running back on the team all year. That's what Sigmund Bloom suggested on Friday.
Man, sniping me all afternoon. You took the words right out of my mouth. I would say a lot of the same things about Sampson. Loved his tape, was really sad. And I think even before all this news with Judkins, I think Sampson was going to have a role because Judkins is not a great third down back. And I think Sampson is great in that kind of role. So let's see. I'll go to the well at quarterback. We haven't taken a quarterback yet because it is 1 QB. And so I'll go ahead and take Cam Ward here. And, he's got good mobility. He's got great arm talent. He was the number 1 pick. The Titans situation is not exciting. I mean, it's pretty ugly. But yeah, Cam Ward, I think, has as good upside as anybody at this point in the draft.
I like it. I'm going to go ahead and stick with, I probably could wait until pick 24 to do this because nobody else ever takes him in round 2, but I'm going to take Harold Fannin. He's done some wow things already at camp. David Njoku's missed a lot of games over his career and only has 1 year left in his contract anyway. They're talking about playing the 2 of them together a lot. And Joe Flacco is currently the QB1. This team might throw 40 passes a game and just have room to support some multiple pass catchers. So I'll take Harold Fannin. There's 2 picks left so far in round 2. I'll just recap round 2 after we finish it up. So last pick for you.
Yeah, I like that Fannin pick. I have him ranked in my early 3rd, so I'm not too far off of you there. And I will go with my guy, Pat Bryant, who I mentioned earlier for all the reasons that I mentioned. I think for me, it's between him and, I guess I won't say the name because maybe you'll pick him at the next pick. But Pat Bryant, he's a baller, man. He's a dog. I loved watching his tape. I think he's got a real opportunity there with the Broncos. And I think he can produce year 1. So I'm going to take a shot on Pat Bryant here in the late 2nd.
Last pick of the draft. I'm actually taking another tight end. Mason Taylor has an opportunity immediately in New York. They've got Josh Reynolds as the number 2 wide receiver, Alan Lazard as their number 3 wide receiver, and Stone Smart as the other tight end on this team. And I think Taylor's probably over his career going to be a better football player than he is a fantasy football player. But I do think that he's got a good opportunity early on. If he catches some touchdowns, his value will go up. Round 2 looks like Cam Scattaboo, Luther Burden, Jack Besh, Jaden Higgins, Trey Harris, tight end Elijah Arroyo, running back Bashal Tootin, running back Dylan Sampson, quarterback Cam Ward, tight end Harold Fannin, wide receiver Pat Bryant, tight end Mason Taylor. We're going to take our second break. When we come back, I've got some questions from the chat I want to get to before we get out of here.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you. When you need your sports in a snap, find it on CBS Sports HQ, streaming free anywhere you are.
I'm looking for an elevator pitch here, Matt. I'm giving you 60 seconds. I know that you got a little experience in the Devy world, and these guys, maybe next year when I do the auction for St. Jude, we'll do the first ever FFT Dynasty Devy League.
Okay.
But give me 60 seconds on why people should dip their toe into the Devy world.
Okay. If you love Dynasty fantasy football, I think Devy is something that's at least worth trying, especially if you like college football. It's basically Dynasty. It is Dynasty, except instead of only drafting rookies, you can draft anybody in college. In some Devy leagues, they'll even let you draft high schoolers. I prefer to keep it to college. Got to draw the line somewhere.
Yes.
But yeah, you can. So like I just had a Devy league this year where I called up Travis Hunter and Omarion Hampton to my NFL roster because I had them with like 4th, 5th round picks in Devy drafts. So if you can identify talent early and get ahead, Devy can be really, really fun. And it's a great feeling when you identify that guy early for cheap and then he hits your dynasty roster. I also think it just makes you a better dynasty player because you know who's coming down the pipeline. You know, like, is this draft class a strong one or a weak one? And all that kind of stuff. So I think Devy is a fun format. I enjoy it. And I do think it makes you a better dynasty player.
We've got 5 questions from the chat here. We got, with the release of Zach Moss, are we sleeping on the potential of Taj Brooks for at least this year? Taj Brooks, I remember way back in April, was a guy that Matt Waldman was a lot higher on than a lot of analysts. Right now in that backfield, it's basically Chase Brown, Samaje Perine, who never gets a lot of rush attempts, and Taj Brooks. I think we rightfully have some questions about whether Chase Brown can continue to hold up to the workload he saw last year. Do you like Taj Brooks as kind of like a round 3, round 4 pick?
Yeah, Taj Brooks is a pretty good player. I've got him graded kind of as a low end flex option as far as from a talent perspective. He's got good vision, good patience, good elusiveness. I don't think he's the most athletic guy in the world, but he's quick. And he plays with good pad levels. So he's a good player. And obviously them letting Zach Moss go at least shows that they trust him to be a backup. I don't think Samaje Perine is a guy that, you know, NFL teams want to have as their number 2 running back at this point in his career. So I think Taj Brooks, you know, we'll see if he has standalone value as kind of in a tandem with Chase Brown or if he's more of a handcuff. But I do think he's got a chance this year to make some noise.
One of those guys that's probably really good if you've got a couple taxi squad spots. Just put him there. If you have to break that glass because Chase Brown gets hurt, you'll feel okay breaking that glass. I got a little flack in the chat. I knew I would for doing a 1 QB draft. It's because the last 5 we've done have been super flex. And people do play in different leagues. And here's another one. We started our rookie draft today. Can you talk about rookie running backs in non-PPR? Where would Henderson fit, higher or lower than Caleb? And so I said I liked Henderson more in full PPR than Hampton, but I would definitely have Hampton second. So it'd be Genty, then it would be Hampton. Does Henderson hold on to that RB3 spot for you in non-PPR?
I think he would. And if he didn't, it would probably be Judkins for me.
Right.
In non-PPR, I mean, that's your big concern with Judkins is like he doesn't catch passes. I think Judkins is obviously we have these concerns that we talked about earlier. I think he's a better player than Caleb Johnson. I'm not a big Caleb Johnson guy. When I watched the tape, I was just underwhelmed. I mean, he does have a good power element to his game. And when that offensive line opens up holes for him, he gets to the next level. He can build up to some speed for being a bigger guy. No elusiveness to speak of, no change of direction. I think he's kind of a one-trick pony. And
Okay.
yeah, Henderson for me for sure would be above Caleb in any format.
Okay. If you draft Judkins, should you draft Sampson as a handcuff? And I'll say in rookie drafts, if Judkins falls to the 1-2 turn or even to round 2, that's probably going to get a little tricky unless you have multiple picks, because I don't think Sampson's fallen to round 3 anymore. And it could be from a startup perspective. You can just talk a little bit in Dynasty about what you think about handcuffing if you want to.
Yeah, I mean, handcuffing, it's like, it just depends. If you're contending,
Right.
I think it can be wise to have handcuffs, because then you don't have to break the bank overpaying for somebody if a running back goes down. I think if you're rebuilding, it's good to roster a bunch of handcuffs, even if they're not your own, because as soon as the starter goes down, you can flip them for draft picks that are going to help your rebuild. So I think there's value to handcuffs in Dynasty. It just depends on the situation that you're in. As far as Sampson, I do think that if Judkins was to miss time, Sampson would be really good. I like him a lot. I think he's a great player, a great prospect. And for sure, if he was there at the top of the third, I would be excited to take that. And if you got him late round 1, you got another pick late round 2, I'm fine spending a late round 2 on Sampson there as well. So
Okay.
I've got him at 21st in my rankings. And that was before any of this with Judkins. I just thought he deserved to be that high.
Cole said, I personally love Jalen Royals this season. Am I crazy? He's getting some first team run with the Chiefs. He fits very well if they happen to miss Rashee Rice for a period of time this year. Is this another round 3 guy you're targeting?
Yeah, I like Jalen Royals. I was sad that he fell as far as he did in the draft, because day 3 wide receiver hit rates are not very good. So I think you have to kind of take a measured approach and keep your expectations reasonable and say, like, statistics say this guy's probably not going to be a big hit for me, but I like the tape. And of course you have a good chance that Rashee Rice is going to miss time this season. And, I do probably think Jalen Royals is better than like Tyquan Thornton and Hollywood Brown at this stage of his career. So no, you're not crazy to think that, if Rashee Rice misses time, Royals could have a big year.
One more guy that I don't know how much we've talked about Jalen Lane on this show at all, but he has had a good camp. He is getting a lot of positive buzz. This team has Terry McLaurin, who's in a contract dispute. They have Deebo Samuel, who I think is going to be good, but probably not do the same things that Jalen Lane does. Do you have any positive or any thoughts at all about Jalen Lane?
I think he's an athlete. I think he's going to be a good special teams contributor for them. And as far as like being a route runner or like being a quality NFL wide receiver, I think he's got a long way to go in that department. So I think your only path there to any kind of relevance, and this feels like a long shot, but like if Deebo were to miss time,
Right,
and Jalen Lane does some of the same things in terms of gadgety, get the ball in his hands and he can make yards after the catch. But I don't think that he's a guy that I'm prioritizing. Even, after the draft, a lot of times he's on waivers and I'm not prioritizing him as a waiver pickup even.
One more question. Talk about two ships maybe moving in opposite directions. Harold Fannin or Dalton Kincaid next season. So we're assuming Njoku stands in the way this year. Let's assume for the purposes of this question, David Njoku leaves after this year. Who's better, Fannin or Kincaid, if they're both starting tight ends?
I'm going to lean Fannin.
Yeah.
Because Kincaid has shown me with ample opportunity and evidence that he's just not that guy. So last year, I guess he was battling through some injuries is what I hear.
I think he currently is battling through knee soreness. So
we'll see. But the early signs, it's like he's had every opportunity, and I just don't think he's that guy.
That is going to do it for Fantasy Football Today Dynasty. He is Matt Cooper. Go check out Couch Scouts. Use that promo code FFT. Yes, assuming 50 of you haven't already done it. And thank you to everybody who was active in the chat. Go check out the Draftathon auction. Get it. Become a part of the FFT Dynasty League. That's going to be awesome. Can't wait to play with you guys. And we will talk to you on Friday with a one-man mailbag.